What's up? What's up? It is your girl Courage Molina. I help women to build their confidence so that they can be who God has called them to be, do what God has called you to do, and take possession of everything God. Um, so today's DOC, Dose of Courage, getting back to the basics. My son, who is now 20 years old, he used to have locks in his hair. And my kids are biracial, black and Puerto Rican. So his hair is kind of curly and his locks used to look a dang on. They just were very messy because he's got really soft hair. And he was in elementary school when he was like, he wanted to cut his hair. He decided he didn't want the locks anymore. He wanted to cut his hair. He probably had them for maybe a couple years. And I was like, oh man, you don't want your locks anymore. He was like, no, he don't want his locks. I said, well, why not? He's like, Mom, sometimes you just got to get back to the basics, And that's what I'm doing. I'm getting my hair cut. I'm going back to the basics. And that was so funny to me, actually. I was like, this little boy is too funny. And that was years ago. But that situation, that story came to me again this morning, just out of the blue. I haven't thought about it in a long time, and it came to me this morning. And it's like, sometimes you have to get back to the basics, and that's so true. When I look at my life and I think about the growth that I've experienced, the things that I've come through, and the woman that I've become, and I look at some of the things that I did to get here. What are some of the things that worked? Because there was certainly a time where I wasn't this woman. There was a time when I was depressed. There was a time where my marriage was in trouble. There was a time where I wasn't pursuing my purpose. And so what were the actual activities? What were the things? What were the habits that I picked up that kind of changed me? What were some of the basic things that I did? One of those things was reading the Bible, reading and studying my Bible 2 hours and 24 minutes a day. That was one of the things that I did. I would watch the sermon. Like, I would go to church and pay attention in church, just get the word. The word was good. And then on Monday, I would listen to the sermon again. And I would take notes, right? And then I would download the sermon discussion questions, and then I would answer those questions in a journal. In any Bible reference he made, I would read the entire chapter, or sometimes I would read the entire book. So if he referenced 1 Samuel chapter 6, I would read all of chapter 6. If he referenced Acts chapter 27, I would read all of Acts 27. The entire thing, even if he only used a couple verses from it, because I wanted to get the background. Not that he didn't give it. I go to Elevation Church. Pastor Stephen is amazing. Not that he didn't give the background, but at the time I felt like, I don't really know him like that. I don't really know. I know he a pastor or whatever, but I don't really know him. He could be saying anything. He could be taking the word and like manipulating it to say whatever. I don't know. But I wanted to read the whole thing for myself because I felt like I didn't really know him that well. For me to be like, oh, I know he a good dude. No, I don't. He preach good, but everybody preach good till you find out they ain't. Till you find out they not really preaching the word. You understand? And so I would read the book for myself. I just was like fact checking him, And then I would just kind of move on from that. And I was always studying something. Whatever my Bible study was, it was based on, hey, Alicia. Alicia, I need to get on a call with you today. I hope you have some time. But I would then, like, whatever my Bible study was at the time, it was always based on what I needed. So I was really struggling in my marriage. So I read devotionals on being a wife. I found all these Bible studies on being a wife, and words of wisdom for a woman of God, and the excellent wife and the power of a praying wife, like all of those things. That is what kind of drove what I studied in the Bible. Whatever my needs were, that's what I studied. And then after that, I was also like in this Bible reading. So I always had something that was pushing me towards like reading the word of God, right? In addition to that, when I think about when I lost weight, what was working for me? Well, one of the things that was working for me is that I was getting enough water, and I was working a system, and I stuck with that system. I wasn't switching it up from I've just been thinking about some of the areas that I'm looking to grow in right now. And I'm looking to like grow. I'm gonna get healthier, and you know, I've kind of talked about my marriage some, how, you know, in 2019 it was like the hardest time for us, financially and as a married couple. I feel like things were so just crazy for us in 2019. Didn't really know if we were make it. We actually entered 2020 on like a contingency basis, right? Like based on a contingent. We're gonna stay together for the next 6 months because that's how long it's gonna be for Kyra to graduate, and then we will see what we want to do. Even in my marriage, I was in that place, and just like, oh, I'm not necessarily committed to it, but we'll just see, you know, honestly, like, oh, we're just gonna see how it goes. But it makes no sense to be praying for something and not be doing anything towards it. All of that to say this, that all of these things that are going on through my mind, the things that I need help with, the things that I'm believing God for, be it in my growth as in like my spiritual growth and my faith. I want to continue growing. I know that I need to continue growing. I want to continue growing because I want to be exactly who God has called me to be. I want to have the impact that I was created to have, and I want to fulfill His purpose for my life. I want to do that on this. So I know that I can't be that girl, that woman in the future unless this one, the one you see today, unless she grows. So it's like, okay, what can I do now to grow? And instead of me thinking of all these fancy things that I could do, what if I just went back to the basics? What if I just went back to spending 2 hours and 24 minutes in the Word of God? What if I chose Bible studies based on the true needs that I have? What if, as it relates to my weight loss, I just went back to the basic and said, okay, let me master drinking the amount of water that I need every day. Let me master going to sleep so that I can get the 7 to 8 hours that my body needs. Let me master the habit of working out for 30 minutes a day before I start saying, oh, I'm going to do this hour a day program, or oh, I'm going to change up the way I'm eating. What if I just went back to the basics as it relates to my marriage and being a wife on this side? Because now my husband, my children are, you know, we're about to be empty nesters. We about to have an empty nest. And instead of, you know, having this contingency plan, like, oh, you know, are we going to stay together? Well, we will stay together if X, Y, Z. What if we just decided, and by we I mean me, because I'm always the one like, I'm getting out of this. Listen, the schedule is so important. I need to do a management because time management is the real hero to growth. Having a routine, having a schedule, Alicia, is that's the real secret weapon. If we could get up and consistently do things that we know we need to do every single day and just have those daily habits, who would we become? Who would I be 30 days from now if I committed to 2 hours and 24 minutes in His Word? Where would my body be 30 days from now if I just slept 8 hours a day, walked 30 minutes a day, and drank my 8 bottles of water every single day? What would my body look like in 30 days? What would my marriage look like in 30 days if I focused on becoming that God has called me to be? What would my finances look like if for the next 30 days? You understand what I'm saying? What if we just got back to the basics? Not fancy, not new, right? Just as a start, and I'm not saying stay there, but just as a starting point. What would your life look like 30 days from now if you implemented basic daily habits that you know work for you? That maybe you did and you saw growth, but just because of life and storms and the things that happen, you're not doing them anymore. What would happen if you did that for 30 days? Just basic. What would happen? What would your life look like? Whatever area of your life you are praying about, what would it look like if you just went back to the basics? I've been thinking about like buying this book to keep my house organized and all this stuff. What if I just went back to the basics of doing my laundry every Saturday morning and not Saturday, I'm doing it Monday because Monday's my day off. I'm not off on Saturday. What if I did my laundry on Monday morning? Like every single week? What would it look like if my day to do all of my chores was one day a week and I did all of that? What would it look like if I did the basic thing of straightening up in the morning when I got up and straightening up again at the end of the day when I got out of work? What would my home look like in 30 days if I just did that? Basics, just the basic stuff that I used to do. basic things, right? Think of all the areas of your life, your fitness, as in your mind and your body. What went back to the basics of what got you to where you are, or the last thing where you saw change, the last thing that allowed you to see some change and some progress? What if you went back to that? What would your space look like if you went back to the basics of the things that you used to do that worked, that for whatever reason life kind of got in the way? What would your finances look like if you just went back to the basic of like just balancing your checkbook, paying the bills that were supposed to be paid and leaving the rest? And not like, what would your finances look like if you just used the basic knowledge that you had, not learning about investing, not doing anything? Just like, what if you could master the basic things in the areas of your finance? What if you could get the basic amount of work done in the area of your career or entrepreneurship? What would that look like if you went back to the basics for that? What would it look like if you went back to the basics as it related to your faith? Whether it was going to church, taking notes in church, studying the word, praying. Like, what would it look like if you just mastered? Okay, I'm not saying for you to spend 2 hours and 24 minutes. What if you just made sure that you tuned into a sermon and you were tuned into that sermon, not doing your, what would that look like? How would that impact your life if you did that? So this week, I just want to challenge you to get back to the basics, whatever that looks like for you. Basic dinners, to make sure that you get dinner on the table. A basic schedule. In the morning, I'm going to do this. In the afternoon, I'm going to do this. And in the evening, I'm going to do the best I can. What would a basic schedule look like for you, Alicia? Just, I'm just doing the basics. I ain't regular. I'm trying to master regular things right now. I'm not trying to master these huge things. I'm just trying to master these regular things that I used to do, these habits that were helpful. What would that look like if you did that? I want to challenge you to get back to the basics this week. If you, share this video. I should have said that in the beginning. I'm really trying to get used to the whole share. Share the video, right? Tag somebody that you want to encourage, who's feeling some overwhelm, and you want to encourage them to just get back to the basics of doing the things that they know have worked for them in the past. So tag somebody, share this, to like my page, Chief Courage Crusader Molina. I think it's Courage Molina, Chief Courage Crusader. I think that's what it is. Go ahead and like that. Yes, but Alicia, those celebrations, you can just schedule them. Just like a basic schedule. Oh, I know I have a party at 3 o'clock. Don't pretend like you have work time and you ain't got time to work because you got a celebration. Basic. You can't do two things at one time. Schedule the celebration. Schedule the holidays for fun. Don't expect to get work done. I ain't do nothing. I ain't get a lick of work done. That's why I did not take care of our business yesterday, because yesterday was my day off. And even though like in my mind I was like, oh, maybe I'm going to do some stuff. I just took the whole day as planned, and I watched TV and I laid in bed. And at the end of the day, I listened to the sermon again. But schedule time for your celebrations and holidays. Stop pretending like you got time to work. You ain't got time because you got a party to go to. You got, and that's cool. It's okay. Because you can't do two things at one time anyway. So celebrate, I love a good celebration. So celebrate when it's time to celebrate, and enjoy the holiday, and get back to it, the schedule after. So today's the first day for me after graduation, and my husband was here. So now today I'm getting back to my time in the Word this morning. That's why I have this word of encouragement for y'all today. And now I'm going to get to work after this. Well, I got to do another live on IG. But make sure you like this page, Courage Molina, Chief Courage Crusader. If you have been a client, if you have been in the program, I would love for you to rate and review me in the way that you have experienced working with me on this page, so that more people can find me, and you can help me increase my visibility and my impact, which I appreciate. All right, I love y'all. If you're not in the Dose of Courage group on Facebook, certainly get into the Dose of Courage Facebook, and make sure you like this page and share. All right, I love y'all. Hashtag replay. I should have said that. I'm gonna get better. I promise. It's weird doing a live and not being able to tag people. It's so weird. But I'm gonna stick to this. I'm gonna stick to going live from my page. So make sure you are. Make sure you like the page and make sure you have your notifications on so that you know when I go live. Okay? Okay. All right. I love y'all. Later.